Am I the asshole for going behind my husband's back to do something that's against his beliefs? Please don't share this on any external site, as it's pretty specific and I want to remain private. No one involved has read it. Update. I took your advice and talked to him again and showed him the article that you, Mountain Hyacinth, shared in a comment. Explained that it's not haram because it's for the kitten's health and safety, and he immediately agreed. Why so many of us, especially me, are so averse to just talking to people. Is everyone traumatized after dating narcissists or what? But often the simplest solution is the correct one. One more step away from my pattern of avoiding things I think will be unpleasant. Thank you all. Too long did not read. My husband doesn't believe in spaying, neutering animals. Would I be the asshole if I get our cat fixed while he's out of the country? My 33 female husband, 36 male, is from Egypt and I'm from the US. He's lived here for 2 years, and we have several pets together. I can't have children, for the inevitable. Do you really want to have children with this man? Comments? Because I am familiar with how everything works here, I usually handle most of the outside the home stuff, paying the bills, making appointments, stuff like that, while he learns about everything as we go. Anyway, when we got our first cat, I took him to get fixed, neutered. Even though I told him the plan several times in advance, it turns out he didn't actually understand that doing this would cause our cat to no longer be able to get other cats pregnant. He was aggrieved, not angry, just very sad when he learned this, because he believes that it's an innate right of all living things to be allowed to procreate if they want to, and to interfere with that is haram, wrong in the eyes of God. We have 2 purebred and registered Pomeranians that we had before the cat, both intact because we planned to breed them, so it wasn't an issue before this. Well, we adopted 2 more kittens, because the cat was very lonely and upset after we stopped allowing him outside for health and safety reasons. The girl kitten was spayed before we got her, which saddened my husband, but we didn't have a say in this, but the boy is intact. All of our 3 cats are strictly indoor only. I've explained to him that here in the US, it is irresponsible to not spay, neuter your pets and why. But he is firm in his beliefs, which I respect even though I disagree with them. Our veterinarian advised getting the kitten neutered and says he will mark his territory by spraying his urine in the house. Plus if he ever sneaks outside, he can cause unintentional kittens. She thinks it's perfectly fine to neuter him without telling my husband. My husband and I have a policy of always being 100% honest, so even considering this feels terrible to me. But I feel just as strongly about neutering pets as he does about not neutering them. So, would I be the asshole if I had our kitten neutered during the extended travel, 10-16 weeks? My husband will be gone and not telling him? Edit 1. We're not getting any more pets, 5 is more than enough. Geez. Why everyone assumes that I'm planning to keep accumulating animals. You are the asshole for having pets while not 100% in a position to agree with your spouse on getting your pets fixed. Also for wanting to be dishonest with him because of said first point. Stop getting more pets if you can't agree on the desexing of them. You're a shit pet owner and you are being selfish. YWBTA. I am a firm believer in spay, neuter, but I also think that you could do irreparable harm to your marriage if you were to violate his trust. Instead, consider showing him this article. You can also suggest that he speak with an imam for guidance if he doesn't trust the article. Either way, the trust, respect between the two of you should be the priority. YWBTA. You said you're always 100% honest with each other. So, tell him you're getting the cat desexed whether he likes it or not. If he can't see why it's irresponsible not to, then you really shouldn't be getting any more pets. YWBTA if you sneak around and do this. You have a 100% honesty policy with your husband. Just tell him you are doing it. It's that simple. It's matter of fact. Cats and dogs that don't get fixed end up having a higher chance of cancer. YWBTA to your husband but not to your cat or the potential other kittens he might father. Could you wait and take your husband to an animal shelter or show him the documentaries about all the abuse that unwanted pet progeny suffer? And gently let him know that you feel that until you guys can adopt all the unwanted kittens and puppies in the world, you want to make sure that you don't add to that problem? Not the asshole, it's better for the cat and its health long term. YWBTA for the same reason most commenters stated, talk to him first. Taking the rest of the wash out of it. This is a battle of opinions, yours to neuter, and his to not do so. You both need to have a sit down and discuss this, and form some sort of understanding, or it will be a much bigger problem in the future. Not to mention setting a bad precedent of, if he doesn't like X, I'll just do it when he's not home. You are the asshole if you lie to him. That's not a good way to have a healthy relationship. Your hubby would feel so betrayed when he eventually finds out that you've been lying to him. However, you are 100% not the asshole for getting the cat desexed. It will improve the quality of life for your kitty and is the responsible thing to do. Am I the asshole if I told my friend to get rid of his dog if he wants us to stay friends? Hear me out before judging. I see two options here, and no matter which option I choose, I'll be ta. This is about my friend, Jay, along with his husband, C, and 2 dogs, Butch and Wendy. Jay and I have been friends for about 10 years. We get together often, we like to hang out, get high as fuck, watch TV and movies, etc. We hang out a couple times a week, always at his place as he's legally blind and can't drive. Jay and C had a dog, B, since puppyhood. He was a large dog, think Labrador Retriever size. The problem was that Jay and C claimed to love B like a child, but in reality they treated B like shit. What I hated most was the "go away" attitude they had. Whenever B would try to get some needed attention, one or both would scream, "Go away, go lie down," over and over until he sadly slunk over to his doggy bed and slept. Jay, being blind, couldn't take B outside on walks. C is lazy to walk B, so B relieved himself in their apartment. They screamed at him for that. They only gave him 1/2 cup food per day, for a 75–80 pound dog, so he'd shit less, and set out wee pads for his business. B was starved for attention, so I always made sure to pet him and rub his belly as long as I could before Jay noticed and screamed, "Go away, go lie down." Jay and C go to Hawaii every December and August for 2 weeks. I stay at their apartment and take care of B and try to give him as much doggy fun and companionship as I could before they returned to scream at him. In February, B became very ill, very quickly, and had to be put down. He'd gone into kidney failure and the vet said it wasn't treatable. They did put him down, and because of the circumstances, they did the right thing. B's death was somewhat of a relief. I stopped worrying about the terrible way they treated B, and started to release the anger that had been building up. I think our friendship started growing stronger once the worry and resentment were lifted. Until March of this year, when Jay and C went to a pet adoption event sponsored by our state humane society and adopted a dog. WW is a very small, approximately 2 years old dog who kinda looks like a Chihuahua, Terrier mix. She came to them a frightened, trembling dog in need of a loving home, good training and a dedicated forever home. She gets none of that from them. It's the same screaming, but since she is small, when she starts barking, C picks her up by the scruff of her neck, holds her up by his face and screams, "Shut up," then drops her the floor, shaking and frightened. Jay decided that holding her on his chest, arms tightly around her so she can't escape, is the best way to deal with her aggression, barking. He holds her there for a long time. I hate every bit of it. I figure I have 2 choices. Tell them to rehome the W, or I'll refuse to be friends longer. Or keep my mouth shut and watch them abuse and destroy another dog. Would I be the asshole if I told a friend he had to rehome his dog if he wants to remain friends? Or a third option of reporting them to the Humane Society and the shelter they adopted the dog from. That would be the far better option for the poor dog. Your third option is to call animal control on them and report the dog abuse. If animal control doesn't take care of it, and sitting down and explaining to them how to care for a dog doesn't help, then not the asshole for writing these people off, and I hope things work out for the new dog. Then go to the adoption facility that sold them that dog and tell them what happened to the last 2 dogs and make sure they are not approved for another. Sorry mate, but YTA for not doing something about it when they were neglecting their first dog. So why would you want to be friends with someone who has recently treated their dog like shit, without remorse, even if they rehome the dog? Report the guy to the animal shelter, the animal control people, and cut the guy out of your life. You are the asshole for not reporting them for animal abuse. Not the asshole, but you still want to be friends with those kind of people? Tell the place where they got the dog FFS, save that poor creature. WTF. I never would have been able to sustain a friendship with someone after witnessing them treating their dog like this. You would absolutely not be the asshole for threatening to break off the friendship if they don't rehome their dog. You sound like a generally empathetic person, so I can't believe you've put up with this for all of B's life. UWNBTA. Obviously reading this made me physically cringe. OMG. Not the asshole. I wouldn't even give them this ultimatum honestly. I'd start taking video and report them for animal abuse and ditch them. Anybody who abuses helpless animals is not a good person. Am I the asshole for being surly, rude and mean at a wedding and leaving early? I was asked to be a member of the wedding party. Despite this, I was the only person, not only in the wedding party, but also at the ceremony, who wasn't allowed to have a +1. This was an outdoor wedding with unlimited seating and these people don't give a shit about COVID, so it wasn't about that. I was told it was because my relationship wasn't serious enough despite us being together for a year. That only engaged or married couples were invited. And that they didn't want some random guy in their wedding pictures who I might not even be with later in the future. They don't want to have to look at some random guy in their pictures, even though he wouldn't have been in any of the posed pictures at all. Maybe just in the background of crowd shots. There have been no conflicts between them and my boyfriend, and he's a nice and mild-mannered guy who gets along with everyone, so I don't think it was about him personally. I get to the ceremony and find out that literally everyone else has a +1. Not just married couples. But there are couples there who have been dating for less time than me. This is when I started feeling surly. I smiled and played my part during the ceremony, but inside I was very surly and angry. We then got to the reception, which had way more people than the ceremony. This is where all the more distant friends were invited. And everyone there had a +1. I was literally placed at a table as the one single person and everyone else at the table was a couple. Some at the table were other members of the wedding party, but others were random distant acquaintances. People started asking me where my boyfriend was and I said I was told he wasn't invited. They asked why and I said I had no idea why. This is when I started letting my surliness show and started acting rude and mean, because I was humiliated. And then, I was brought into conversation with the couple's male friend, Dean. I was previously told that Dean has a crush on me and I made it clear I wouldn't be interested even if I were single. Even after that he kept trying to message me and I ignored him. But now the people who brought me into conversation with Dean were like standing around staring at us and giggling behind their hands. Like they thought they were Cupid matchmakers. Dean was absolutely a participant in this. I was meaner to Dean than I've ever been to anyone in my entire life. I was as fully rude as I've ever wanted to be when being the target of someone's romantic interest unwantedly. It's true I don't really know if I was being set up, but I was already furious before that happened. Everyone was silent and awkward. I went back and finished my meal, and as soon as I was done, picked up my purse and left and went straight to my boyfriend's house, skipping most of the reception, cake cutting, speeches, and everything. I'm now being told by the couple that they're hurt and confused why I left so early. I haven't replied. Not the asshole if you were seriously singled out like that as the only major exception by someone, either the wedding couple or anyone in the wedding party. I probably would have been more angry. Not the asshole. You were treated blatantly unfairly, and it appears that there was an ulterior motive. You'd be justified if you went NC with everybody involved in this fiasco. Not the asshole that was rude and totally unacceptable of them to try to force you into being a date for Dean. Not the asshole. If they are hurt and confused, simply tell them. As you know, I have been dating boyfriend for a year. I noticed Sally was there with her boyfriend of 4 months, and Sam was there with his girlfriend of 7 months. Why was I treated differently and not allowed a +1 based on time spent dating? Info. Who brought you into conversation with Dean? Any chance they had input on your +1 situation? Sounds like someone was hoping, actually, expecting, you to hit it off with Dean at the wedding and leave your boyfriend for him. Not the asshole. What a horrid situation to be in. Also, did Dean bring a +1? If so, major, he's ta. Not the asshole. I think the reason you weren't paired up with Dean is because they knew it would have been too obvious. However, I think it's fair to assume that they did not allow you to bring your boyfriend because they hoped you and this Dean would have some time together, and I guess they thought you'd hit it off. Again, not the asshole. Don't feel bad, Abbott, because even if Dean was not the reason, there was no good reason they did not allow your boyfriend to come. Not the asshole. You were mean to Dean. Good. You were surly because you were being treated unfairly. Good. You left early because you weren't being respected. Good. They're hurt and confused because they tried to bully you into bullshit and you didn't take it lying down. Good. You're not a pushover, you love your partner, and you do not deserve to have your boundaries stomped all over by your friends. These people ruined their relationship with you and gave themselves wedding drama all by themselves. They're not good friends if they don't listen to and respect you. Holy shit, that was a weird read. So, if I have this right, these people wouldn't let you bring your boyfriend because you guys weren't that serious. But then everyone else there was allowed a +1, even though their relationships were younger than yours? Then, they put you in a situation where you had to interact with a guy that had feelings for you before? It really sounds like they kept you from bringing your boyfriend so they could let this friend of theirs have a shot at you as a favor. Not the asshole. Even if they weren't the ones trying to set you up, it's just a weird situation all around and there was no reason to single you out like that. Would I be the asshole, 30 feet SF, if I were to leave my parents' home, in spite of the current circumstances? I've got a bit of a situation here. I've prayed and consulted with others, but I figured I let the good old folks of Reddit have their say. Couldn't hurt or make me feel worse, right? So, here it goes. I needed to move back home due to my grad school visa expiring. My parent and youngest sibling, well more so my parent, were initially on board with this, especially considering my parent has always said any of us, there's 6 of us in total, would always have a home if need be. Since I was in the final stages of my program, remotely, my parent was alright with this and hadn't hassled me about finding a job. With my parent saying this, their only requirement was that I contribute to the upkeep of the house and obey them, as the Bible commands. My parents' reasons for being resistant with me finding work is as follows. 1. It would affect their current living situation, and 2. If I were working and contributing to rent, bills, household essentials, that it would make me feel entitled to having a say in what goes on in the house, something they are not willing to concede as they want to maintain total control over everything. While I was enrolled in school, undergrad and grad, my parent had a few near-fatal health scares, which has left them disabled and needing assistance with their physical well-being. My youngest sibling was there throughout and I commend for being there, as I wouldn't have been able to withstand my parents' negativity they've been known to dish out over the years, even before the health scares. Over the past year and a half, I've been subjected to being cursed out, yelled at, told off because I have not complied with my parents' wishes, subjected to verbal and emotional abuse on a near-daily basis. I'm called out for doing things that would be considered harmless, such as separating my snacks, food items or staying in my room, as they perceive it to be offensive. If you were to hear it from my parent and youngest sibling, I'm an insidious, manipulative, selfish individual, one who harbors resentment, hatred, bitterness towards my parent, even when I'm saying nothing while being cursed out and told some truly harsh things that no parent, regardless of anger, should say to their child, regardless of their age. I cannot repeat the words for fear of my post being removed. At this point, I am holistically tired of the stress and negativity that I receive from my parent. I currently have a few opportunities lined up that could potentially have me out of the house and out of the area. Question is, would I be the asshole for taking up the above-mentioned opportunities, when available, thus leaving my parent and youngest sibling in their current circumstances? I know the response is gonna be 50-50. And I am totally expecting a few of you all to put me in check about my behavior, even wanting to know more details. I would be highly surprised and shocked if anyone sided with me or at least gives me the benefit of doubt. Why WNBTA? They want to maintain total control over everything. This is a ridiculous demand. They're being fucking ridiculous. Not the asshole. Not your problem. It's ridiculous to expect you to take care of them when they are abusive, controlling, and toxic. Get out ASAP. Go live your life. Your other siblings agree with your parent, so they can take care of them. Not the asshole. There is no reason to stay there when they treat you so bad. You are an adult, not a teenager. Get out and you will feel much better. I know the response is gonna be 50-50, and I am totally expecting a few of you all to put me in check about my behavior, even wanting to know more details. I would be highly surprised and shocked if anyone sided with me. This is such an odd caveat when the rest of the post reads like it does. I'd be highly surprised if anyone on here didn't say not the asshole. Not the asshole. It sounds like everyone would be happier if you moved out. Even if it upsets your parent or your sibling, you need to prioritize your own mental health and well-being. Good luck, op. Not the asshole, and you need to get out. Honor and respect goes both ways. Since your parents and yourself follow the Bible, don't forget. Colossians chapter 3 verse 20-21 Children, obey your parents in everything, for this pleases the Lord. Fathers, do not exasperate your children, so they won't become discouraged. It sounds like they're demanding the first half and ignoring the second. Lots of other verses that back this principle up btw. As a 30-years-old grad student, look, you're 30, if you have an opportunity, take it. Your life is 1/3 over. You better start living it. Not the asshole. Go for the opportunity, leave that house. You don't owe them nothing. Just read again the line about, if I worked and contributed to the house I would feel entitled. This is about having power over you and throttling your independence. You deserve to be in charge of your own life. Honestly, opt not the asshole. While yes, your parents have the final say of what goes on in their own home, they went about it the complete wrong way. When you can, try to find a different place to stay, and gl.